And she had been meaning to stop by and introduce herself to me. She helped restore my soul. She took me by the hand, and I went to book clubs with her, the art club with her, which they took me in, surprisingly, and other activities in church, including the choir. I had already visited, and I've already, and she became my surrogate mother and my best friend. And I have already visited her in her new residence in Charlotte. I love our church and all of you. I found my niche by doing the small table decorations for the parish hall tables. They keep me on my toes by keeping them fresh looking and energetic for our many activities in that room. It's wonderful to have such a wonderful church family and such a beautiful place to live. God is good. And then y'all have any questions? Anybody got any questions? I think I told everything, not quite, but.
So you came in 2013?
Yeah. Yeah.
Going to church 2013?
No, I'm still yet to get joined to the church, but Wes and I have to go around with that every now and then, but anyway.
The coordination.
The coordination thing, because lots of times his classes he does in December and we're just out and about and it's hard to do the classes. And then we had a miscommunication about me joining last time, so I'll get there. Anything else?
You'd be very welcome.
Do what?
You'd be very welcome.
Well, thank you very much. I
Not
hope
so
so.
much.
Y'all have made me very welcome otherwise, whether I'm a member or not. So anyway.
That's just paper.
Yeah, I know it is, just paper. Well, y'all enjoy the pictures. There's a lot of them. I have pictures of the cakes I decorated with the kids. There's some pictures of us in a little two-picture thing in high school. There's all kinds of stuff that I went through 8 boxes of pictures. It was kind of fun going down memory lane. That was a lot of fun. It was a great process to get ready for this. And I hope it didn't bore y'all.
No, thank you so much.
Okay. Huh?
The cheerleader.
Yeah, that's Ansley. That was when she went to Disney World.
Oh, she's
That's her. That was interesting about Disney World. You cannot walk around Disney World with a uniform like that on. They had to go down underneath and change clothes. Unless you're a hired employee, that's the only way you can walk around with an outfit on, with being something else. So they had to go down underneath
And put those on.
and put their uniform on and come back and do the walk, and then had to go back and find their stuff. It was quite an ordeal, but we had a good time. I also had a bump in the back of my van, and it was so warm that the heat traveling down from Statesboro, Georgia to Orlando. I went out after we'd gotten our stuff out, and I went out trying to find my car, and I couldn't find the bump. It disappeared. The heat had made it pop out. The dent in it popped out. It was plastic, so it just kind of, the heat just made it. It was wild. That's something we didn't expect.
Yeah, it needs to go to them.
But the house we bought had been built by a dentist, and she was in the garden club I was in, and I met her, and she said she was interested in selling her house. And then I told her how we had rented our house in Savannah, so to get it sold. And so she said, well, I want to talk to you about it. So I go to her house, and she says, I said, you want to rent this for a while? Do you really want to sell it? She said, yeah. I said, don't look any further. I brought Dawn over. It was such a sweet place. We just, it had a half-acre pond. It was spring-fed, plenty of fish. Enjoyed watching the birds. We totally renovated the house. It went from 3,000 to 5,000 square feet, way too big. But anyway, but it was great for fire ant because all my sisters and their kids could sleep on the floor wherever during fire ant. That's why the parties lasted forever. That was the music festival that we started.
That's her email address.
Fire ant fire
They're
ants,
all over the yard.
yeah, they were all over the yard, and so the deal was to get the fire ants dead so the people wouldn't get bit in the yard, because they were all over the yard. We finally accomplished that. But it got started by, our son Chris had a band. They'd never played outside of their practice area. And some of the boys were fixing to go to college. So I said, well, just come over to the house and y'all invite your family and friends and we'll just have us a little time around the pool. And we cooked hamburgers and hot dogs. And that's what started it. Don said, I kind of like that. That was kind of fun. So the next year, we had a band and another band, and there weren't any music festivals in Statesboro. That was the deadest place I'd ever lived for music. They just seemed, but there was a lot of people interested in music, but the town itself it was a new idea, true. And so we didn't have a deck around the pool for a while. We added this deck, and it just really made the whole thing. Really, that deck was 3,000 square feet. So it had a 5,000 square foot house and a 3,000 square foot deck. But it was a lot of job. It was a job for me. I started every July, the 1st of July, in the heat, cleaning out the garage, and working on the deck, and cleaning all the furniture. It was quite an undertaking, but it got to where I called the porta potty people, I called the caterer, I called the light people, I called the tent people, and they were all expecting a call in March to get ready for August. So they knew what to do, and they came in, bam, 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 thank you, ma'am, and it was just check, 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 and here we go. So we were ready. But the crazy way medicine has gone, the reimbursements got so bad we couldn't afford to do it anymore. So that was sad. And then, too, my kids had grown up, and they couldn't come and have our family band, and that was the real fun about it. So we just kind of stopped it, and it was kind of nice not to have to do all that every year. But we did enjoy it. It was a lot of fun, and there are people that have a lot of memories about it. I'll tell you about a trip to Alaska. I cut this out. We went on this cruise. Don was getting to see me, so we were doing the Inside Passage, and we came into Vancouver, and we went over to Vancouver Island and did Butchart Gardens, and that was really neat. If any of you have been there, that's a very interesting place, because only gardens I've ever been where the totem poles were on the property. Those were cool. So we went to, our first stop was Juneau, the capital. You can't get to Juneau by car. You have to come by plane or boat, which is strange, but anyway. So we had this tour to the Taku Lodge, and we had to fly in an airplane, and it was a de Havilland Beaver airplane. My husband was so excited, and they let him sit up front. It has a big radio engine, and it was so funny. They had us and this couple from England who had a son that was also a pilot, and this little Chinese couple. And they put them in the very back of the boat, of the airplane, because they could fit back there. The rest of us were too big or too long. But it was so funny. So we get in this airplane, and we fly over these glaciers with these crevasses that were just unbelievable. And they are blue. The farther you get over them, and they're absolutely this beautiful sky blue. And that's because they're so cold and old, it makes them blue. So we land in front of a glacier at the Taku Lodge. There's these bottles of off right there at the deck. The mosquitoes must have been the size of quarters. So you sprayed yourself with the off to keep mosquitoes from taking you off back to the airplane. And so we get out there, and they're trying to keep this bear and it's her cub away from the food. So we go in there, and I mean, that meal was so memorable. It was the most wonderful meal I had the entire trip. It's one of the greatest meals I ever had. And they had yeast bread. They had apples cooked with cranberries. We had beans, baked beans. we had grilled fresh salmon. And we had
Put it
tea
on that.
and some dessert. I forgot what the dessert was. But they poured hot tea over our ice. They had gotten glacier ice for our tea, and it didn't even melt. And our iced tea was cold as it could be. It was fascinating. So later on, this guy talks about the lodge, and it had been built by a doctor a long time ago. So Don gets up and says, "How come, what's the best, what do y'all do to the salmon? It's absolutely delicious."
What's your secret ingredient?
And Don wanted to know what their secret ingredient was, thanks. They said, "Well, it's probably bear saliva." And he said, "If you'll look out," and there was Mama Bear and her cub literally licking the grill and getting the salmon off the grill. And so we figured out that must be. It was really good. It's so funny, one time we were eating at Medina's and they said, "We can't keep the bears out of the garbage cans." And I said, "What are y'all serving?" She said, "Salmon." I said, "Oh, that's their best food." But anyway, we enjoy living here. And like I said, I guess moving's just hard on me. But when I finally get here and find some friends, I'm happy.
We enjoy you this.
Well, thank you. I enjoy being here too.
We
Thank y'all
do.
for coming.
Thank you.
I'm gonna drink my Cosmopolitan as my dessert. Now I can relax.
Yeah, I thought
Thank
your courage came a little late.
y'all. Yeah, my courage. No, I had a glass of wine before I started. This is just kind of let me relax so I can just in the bed tonight. Thank you.